Okay, we're going to start with the pin tucks in the front of Frances, the front bodice. So this is the piece once it's been cut per the measurements in the chart. So I've got my piece where I've got it right side up, and I've got it laid where it's top is obviously on top, bottom on bottom. So I'm going to fold it in half and place a pin in the center. Okay, so now you can see I've placed a pin in the center of the bottom and the center of the top. And now I'm going to use the chart to measure out from center. So this is a size 9 to 12 months. So I'm going to measure out from the center a 1/2 inch on either side. And then I'm going to measure out 1 1/8 inch from that mark for the second and third mark. So first thing I'm going to do is measure out 1/2 inch to both sides of the top and the bottom. And I'll place a pin wherever that mark is. Okay, so I find it easiest to use a seam gauge to measure out from the pen. So since we're going to go a 1/2 inch out from the pen, I can just line up the 1/2 inch mark with the pen, and then I'll place a pin right there, and then place a pin at the 1, and then I'll come down to the bottom and do the same. Okay, so you can see here where I've got the center mark, which is the blue pin, and then a 1/2 inch out on each side is the yellow. Remember, this is a 9 to 12 month size, so depending on which size you have, your measurements to the side will be different. So now I'm going to use the seam gauge again, and I'm going to measure out 1 1/8. Let's see. There we go. So I'm going to measure out 1 1/8 inch from the pin, and I'm going to put another pin right here. I'm going to do that until I have two more pins on each side. So I'll do 1 1/8 and put place a pin there, and then I'll move it again and do another 1 1/8 and place a pin there, and I'll do that on both sides, top and bottom. Okay, so now you can see I've finished placing my pins. I've got the center pin, which is this blue pin right here, 1/2 inch out from center on either side, and then 1 1/8 from the first mark, second mark, and third mark. So I should have 8 marking pins plus the center one, so it's really 9 pins along the top, and then same thing at the bottom. Okay, so now we're starting to fold the fabric. So if you remember at the top, this blue one was the center. So now I'm going to fold it on that first pin out from the center. So first pin out from the center on the top, first pin out from the center on the bottom, and I just kind of align it. So I'm going to have a nice kind of straight line here. I'm going to take this to the iron and press all along this edge right here. Okay, so after I pressed this edge, I took it over to my machine. You can kind of barely see the stitching, but I sewed a 1/4 inch seam allowance from the edge all the way down this long edge. I took out the pins because obviously it made it easier to sew. That's essentially how we do the first pleat, and then we're going to repeat this now moving on to the second mark. So I'll fold it along the second pin at the top and the second pin at the bottom. So I've got it folded now along that second pin on the top and bottom. I'm going to go press it and sew. Okay, so now I've sewn the second pleat. I'm going to repeat it for 2 more pleats on this side. Then I'm going to move on to the next side of center. So the next part of the video, all of these pleats will already be sewn. Okay, so now I've sewn all of the pleats. So I've got 4 pleats to the left of center and 4 pleats to the right of center. The only pin that I left was the center pin, and you don't necessarily have to do that, but I find it easier just to orient myself on the piece. So now I'm going to take this over to the iron, and I'm going to press all the pleats away from center. So all the pleats on the right will be pointing to the right, all the pleats on the left will be pointing to the left. Okay, so you can see now how the pleats are pressed to each side. So the next thing we're going to do is fold this whole piece in half, and then we will lay the pattern piece on top and cut it out. You can see here how I have the pattern piece aligned with that middle fold, and now I'm just going to cut it out and we will be ready to move on.
Hi, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe.